How y'all doing? Y'all all right? I'm good. Look at her. Look, I got a few questions. I need somebody to explain to me where they find the 12 tribes chart in the Bible. I need book, chapter, verse. I need to know where y'all got this from, because I know it came from man, but you should let the word of the Most High be true and every man a liar. And we not to follow the doctrines of men. So if the word tells us to stay away from doctrines of men, why do y'all think it's true? Y'all believe that the Haitians, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, the Mexicans, Guatemalans, the Colombians, y'all done gave them a tribe. That's where all these tribes, that's where they at, right? So can y'all show me that in the Bible? Because if not, you following doctrines of men. And we shouldn't do that. And y'all teaching this to people. So again, I ask, can anybody show me book, chapter, verse? And I'm not talking about second interest, because second interest don't tell you that these 10 tribes, the lost tribes, went to these places. So again, I ask, can you show me book, chapter, verse of where these 10 lost tribes went into Haiti, went into Puerto Rico, went into Cuba, Mexico, Chile, Guatemala, Colombia? I need y'all to show me where it talks about the Seminole Indians being a certain tribe. Can y'all show me that? I need the proof. Because I missed that. I missed that. I know I ain't the only one that missed it. But yeah, I need that. Because if you can't show it to me book, chapter, verse, hey, you teaching your people lies. You adding to the word. Not only are you adding to the word, you giving your heritage away. So, I need that. Real quick. Book, chapter, verse.
Alright, Shalom Akim, Shabbat Shalom. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Come with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem V'chaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. I'm going to get this in the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 1. It reads, James, a servant of our power and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Shalom. To all 12 of the tribes, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Shalom to you all. I'm not going to make this a very long one, you know what I'm saying, to try and convince those who refuse to acknowledge this chart. I'm here to comfort those who may be on the fence, you know what I'm saying, in believing this. They may see this chart and see, you know what, something about this does make sense. I'm here to comfort those who do believe in this, who do believe that this chart is true, that this chart is being truthful. I'm here to comfort those who have have tried to express their feelings, and they could never, they could never see why they couldn't fit in society, why they couldn't fit in life. You know what I'm saying? Why does things seem different? You know what I'm saying? Why do I seem to have a kinship with these so-called black people? Why? Why is that? You know what I'm saying? I'm here to comfort you all, to let you know that the Israelites have been scattered, okay, into all nations. So, when you see that video that I opened up with, of course, it seems to be, it seems to always be the ones that have the filters on. You know what I'm saying? They always have the fake installments. You know what I'm saying? The fake the fake enhancements, if you will. It always seems to be those type of people that be the most rebellious. All right. But from our, from the prophets, you know what I'm saying, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down of Great Millstone, all right, we acknowledge you. We acknowledge you. You know what I'm saying? The men of the likewise doctrine, we acknowledge you, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're here to comfort you. These words comfort you. Let me get this in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61. All right. Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1, it says, "The Spirit of the Lord power is upon me." Salakia. Turn that off. Read that again. Isaiah 61 and 1, it says, "The Spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn." To comfort all that mourn. "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord Yahweh, that he might be glorified. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai." All right. "And Barakathum to all you tribes." To the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians, Seminole Indians. I myself, I'm of the tribe of Gad. So shalom to my fellow Israelites of the northern tribes, of the northern kingdom. All right. The thing about this truth is that it relies solely on faith. All right. This isn't something that you can just easily come to a conclusion in the carnal sense. All right. A heavy emphasis is on faith, and if you're not moving in that faith, all right, you're not going to understand the mysteries in this book. You're not going to understand the mysteries of what happened with the 12 tribes. All right, so that same individual, that same individual had said not to go into the book of 2nd Esdras because it doesn't say anything about the 10 tribes. My question is, did she read it? That's my question. Did she read it? So let's go to the precept in question, because this is the very precept, this is the very scripture, book, chapter, and verse that Christopher Columbus had used to find America. All right? This is the very scripture that Christopher Columbus used to find this place. And when he came here, he had Hebrew interpreters. All right, one of which was notably Del Torres. All right, Del Torres was an Israelite. He was fluent in Arabic and Hebrew. Why did Christopher Columbus bring him here? Why did he bring Hebrew speaking interpreters over here to the Americas? It's because he knew that he was going to encounter Israelites. He didn't need to encounter Israelites of the Southern Kingdom. That wasn't necessary because they already knew where they were. They were in the west coast of Africa. They already knew that. All right? They needed to find the 10 tribes. So this is 2 Esdras chapter 13. And let's get verse 39. It says, "And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king," which is King Hosea. All right, Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, all right, led away captive. This happened before the southern kingdom of Judah, all right, Benjamin and Levi had went into captivity. This happened prior to that. "And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt." The Americas was known as Salak. It was known as the uncharted lands. All right, the unknown world. The known world at that time was in the eastern hemisphere. All right. The known world at that time was in the eastern hemisphere, in Asia. All right. In East and West Asia. You see what I'm saying? These were the places known. All right. When King Alexander the Great, you know what I'm saying, when he brought about the Greek Empire, he went around and he had subjected the known world. All right. That was when the Edomites had first came into world rulership. Okay. That's in 1 Maccabees. Let me get that real quick. 1 Maccabees, chapter 1. Verse 1, it says, "And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece." When this happened, all right, the northern kingdom was already vanished from the known world. All right, and they had came to this land that we know today as the Americas. All right. Verse 2, "And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the earth, and went through the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. All right. So that's going into the conquest of Alexander the Macedonian. All right. So going back to 2nd Esdras, 13th chapter. All right. Going to verse 41, it says, "But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land." All right. If you follow the line of kings that was under the line of King Jeroboam, you know what I'm saying? None of the kings appointed in the northern kingdom had done any righteousness. They all were wicked. You see what I'm saying? They all were wicked. And they all went heavily into idolatry. This is why, if you don't know the history of the Israelites as a whole, if you don't know that history, you're not going to understand what this chart means. If you know not the history. You see what I'm saying? Verse 42. "That they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land." All right. So-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians, Seminole Indians, you know what I'm saying? When we were in the land, all right, with the Southern Kingdom all together, they never kept the laws. They never did what was right. You see? They never did what was required. This is why when you go to the, I believe it's the book of Jeremiah, Salakia. Get that real quick. All right. Jeremiah. Trying to remember where it is. Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 13. "And now, because ye have done all these works, saith the Lord, and I spake unto you, rising up early and speaking, but ye heard not, and I called you, but ye answered not. Therefore will I do unto this house which is called by my name, wherein ye trust, and unto the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I have done to Shiloh. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all of your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim." You see what I'm saying? The seed of Ephraim. It's talking about the northern kingdom, because the tribe of Ephraim is the head tribe of the northern kingdom of Israel. The tribe of Judah is the head tribe of the southern kingdom of Judah. All right? Israel was split into two kingdoms, Israel and Judah. You see what I'm saying? If you don't know this history, then you're not going to understand why this chart is the way it is. All right? Real quick, let me look this precept up. All right? What was that? Jeremiah 14. Salakia. See if this is it. Salakia, that's not the one I was looking for. But in any case, all right. But in any case, the point being is that we're coming back to being joined together in these last days. You know what I'm saying? We're coming back to that point where the Lord is regathering, all right, the Israelites of all the tribes and bringing them back to become whole again. Okay? Let's go to Amos chapter 9. Okay, Amos chapter 9, verse 11. It reads, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." All right. What was the tabernacle of David? The tabernacle of David was under the rulership of King David. All right. When all 12 of the tribes were under one banner. There was no two kingdoms. There was simply the kingdom. All right. The nation that was under one rule, one king. You see what I'm saying? All right, so let's see. So Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33. As a matter of fact, let me read this real quick. Jeremiah 50 and 33. "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah." All right. The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Okay. And the scriptures say that in the place of our captivity, we would remember ourselves. Right. So let me show you a couple videos, because what's going to bring about this reunification is going to start under the persecution when Edom rose up on when he rose on the tribes. You know what I'm saying? And it's happening now. And I'm gonna show you how this is beginning to take place. Bear with me.
The tribe of Judah, which are the American blacks today, look, they're already going out through the four corners of the earth and preaching and teaching the rest of the tribes that we are to remember we are the Israelites and that we have to keep the commandments. Now it's the Mexicans and Hispanics need to repent and keep the commandments, because we also were put into slavery by the Spaniards. Our land, everything was taken away from us because we decided to break God's commandments. We're kings. We are freaking kings of this earth, but we don't know that. Now they call us spits and coons and wetbags and freaking rice and beans, chicken. But now, we're the Israelites. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, this place is going to blow the hell up. And if you are following white Jesus and all these freaking white people supremacy religion that they taught us into slavery that was forced upon us, that's your own detriment. But the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're the Israelites, and we have to keep the...
It's 11 o'clock at night. I never do videos this late. But this comment right here, is the realest thing I've ever fucking seen on TikTok, bro. I've been on this app for 4 years. This is the realest, most fucking legit, like gut-punching comment I've ever seen, because it's so true and so right. I have black people tell me, bro, we better vote for Harris, because no one is ready for what's coming. But I have black people tell me, I can tell you as a black person, this is gonna be like hell on earth. And you were fucking right, bro. Not only on this election, but on many other situations. And a lot of us fail to listen to you. A lot of us fail to listen to black people when you have been the most discriminated, persecuted, and historically mistreated people in the United States, bro. And we didn't fucking listen, and here we are. This is gut-wrenching, this comment, because it's so true. God help us all.
Hey guys, I know I'm getting a lot of questions and everything, and it's just fucking crazy, man. It's fucking nuts. Today, I feel like I don't belong here. I was born in the United States. I served my country. And I felt like a second-class citizen. I know some of you guys are gonna make fun of me because I'm probably got teary eyes and shit, but I just been thinking about it the whole fucking time. And, you know, a couple people asked, like, why they give me a warning, and I have no fucking clue. I can only imagine how people feel like if they're just residents or here on visas. I belong here, but today I felt like I wasn't wanted. Today I felt like I was nobody. I don't think any American should feel this way, especially in their own land. It just kills me, man. It just kills me because I know that not every American is gonna go through this. And I never thought I would have gone through it, to be honest with you. You know, in my head, I always saw, yeah, then let them try whatever. I don't know what to say. Today, I definitely am not free. We're not free no more. All the people I know that... Just be safe out there, guys. This shit is eating me inside. I don't know how else to say it.
I know a lot of DACA recipients can probably relate to this topic. I was called by my HR with my current employers this morning to inform me that my official last day with the company would be the 21st of this month. My DACA renewal has been very delayed, and I have not received my new employment verification card. This is a big blow to me. I'm a single parent of 3, only provider. My kid's father passed away in 2021. And this just sucks. Because kids just started school. Bills aren't going away. I've never been put in this position before. And I'm currently still waiting on that permit to hit my mailbox. For those that don't know, the Supreme Court ruled Monday for the Trump administration and agreed U.S. immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect in the U.S. illegally based on little more than working at a gas station, at a restaurant, at a car wash, speaking Spanish or having brown skin. That is all they need. If you speak Spanish or have brown skin, you are in danger. My family's in danger. And we have to step up. We have to be the change. We have to spread the word. Make sure to keep your family as safe as you can. You know, let them be informed, and that's the best that we can do. But, yep, the Supreme Court ruled this on Monday for the Trump administration.
What happened yesterday in the shadow docket decision
was that the Supreme Court said that it was permissible, legally permissible in the United States of America to use racial profiling, to use accents, and to use race itself as a predicate for denying someone access to due process, which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment.
They are suspending constitutional rights for persons based on their race and ethnicity. There is no moment in recorded human history where you look at an autocratic regime where that is not an element of that regime.
Being detained in America for speaking Spanish or for being brown is now legal. Yes, that's correct. And it comes after an earlier decision by the Supreme Court today where they issued an emergency decision in Non v. Vasquez Perdomo concerning Operation at Large, which deployed ICE agents to the Los Angeles area to places frequented by Latino people who may or may not be undocumented. This decision overturned a previous decision from a federal judge prohibiting immigration agents from detaining people based solely on their perceived ethnicity or the language that they speak. Over the objection of 3 liberal justices, the court blocked a judge's ruling that federal agents actually needed reasonable suspicion that the person was here illegally and not simply their skin color. Now, what's crazy is that the Supreme Court didn't issue an explanation for their decision, although Justice Kavanaugh did issue a concurrence. Now, in his concurrence, he stated that the law allowed ICE to briefly detain an individual for questioning if they have a reasonable suspicion based on specific articulable facts that the person questioned is in the United States illegally. And they said that he further went on to say that ICE agents can use factors such as a presence at a particular location, the type of work that the person does, speaking Spanish or speaking English with an accent, and the person's apparent race or ethnicity. Now, this is absolutely crazy. The Supreme Court just sided with President Trump, allowing for racial profiling, allowing for immigration for ICE agents to detain someone simply for their perceived ethnicity. And notice that even Justice Kavanaugh said that they can detain people for speaking Spanish. So obviously they are targeting Latino people. They didn't say for speaking a foreign language. He specifically said for speaking Spanish.
I'm going to read this quote. All right. It says, before our white brothers came to the colonizers, we had no jails. Therefore, we had no criminals. We had no locks or keys, and so we had no thieves. If a man was so poor that he had no horse, teepee, or blanket, someone gave him these things. We were too uncivilized to set much value on personal belongings. We wanted to have things only in order to give them away. We had no money, and therefore a man's worth couldn't be measured by it. That's a lot packed in one comment. One quote. A lot of things is packed in one quote. Everything that the Israelite is about, the Edomite or so-called quote-unquote white brothers are completely opposed. All right? Remember, the scriptures say two and two. All right? The such as the sinner against the godly and the godly against the sinner. Let me see if I can find that precept real quick. All right, two diametrically opposed powers. Okay, this is why the scriptures say in Isaiah, excuse me, trying to get my words right. The scriptures say in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 9, it says that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth, man. All right, so let's go to, I believe it's in Sirach. So let's go to Sirach chapter. Sirach chapter 33. All right. Sirach chapter 33 and verse. Let's get verse 13. It says, "As the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh him best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another." All right. All right. So pretty much, you know what I'm saying? The point of the matter is that you can't give somebody faith. You know what I'm saying? This faith is only it's only given by the Heavenly Father, and not everyone is given this faith. Only the elect of the nation of Israel are given this faith. Man. All right. So back to 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 43. Okay, it says, let's jump up. Let's go to verse 41 and recap. All right. 2 Ezra chapter 13 verse 41. "But they took this counsel among themselves." All right. The northern kingdom, the northern tribes. All right. They took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen of the Assyrian captivity, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High, Slack, excuse me, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through the country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Osiris. All right. The same region is called Osiris. I forget what it's called in the Hebrew. I gotta look that up. But yeah, Osiris. So real quick, Osiris. Let's look it up. All right, this is from the Jewish Encyclopedia. Osiris. It says, "The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of men, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to 4th Ezra." All right, the 4th book of Ezra, because you remember you have 4 books. The first book of Ezra is Ezra. The second book of Ezra is Nehemiah. Okay, the third book of Ezra is 1st Esdras in the Apocrypha, and the 4th book is 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha. Okay, just to help you understand that. But so it says, until the time of the restoration, according to 4th Ezra or 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, 45th verse, which is what we just read, Columbus identified America with this land. Okay? Christopher Columbus identified America with this land. You see what I'm saying? So these Amalekites know exactly who you are. The elites of this world know who you are. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians. We the prophets don't have time to stop and constantly address all these naysayers, you see what I'm saying? All these people with wayward doctrines, you know what I'm saying? And people who don't do any study. They don't go into any of the history. All right? We don't have time to stop and constantly address these things. All right? If you refuse to believe that, then you refuse to believe that. That means nothing to us. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't stop the flow of the Spirit. All right? Not 1 second. So let me get these couple precepts, man, because we're seeing the Lord, you know what I'm saying, bringing back the breaches, all right? Closing up the breaches thereof, you know what I'm saying, and closing up that gap between us and bringing us closer together. And how he's doing that is through the persecution, all right, through his sword, which is the wicked, and the wicked is Esau, Edom. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 11. It reads, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, the northern kingdom, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the southern kingdom, from the four corners of the earth." All right, let's go back to the chart real quick. All right. So again, verse 12, "And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim, the head tribe of the nation of the kingdom of Israel." All right. "The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah, the head tribe of the southern kingdom of Judah, shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim." Okay. And a good example of what we're talking about here is in a very recent fight between two prominent fighters. All right, you may have heard of the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. Let's go to that real quick. All right, these two men. The one on the right is Mr. Crawford. Okay, he would resemble the image of Judah, the southern kingdom. And the one on the right, Canelo, he would resemble Ephraim. All right, you see what I'm saying? The northern kingdom. So what you have is one man coming from America, all right, which would resemble the tribe of Judah. The other would come from Mexico, which would resemble, or which would represent the tribe of Issachar. All right. So what I wanted to point out with this example here is that even though the fight was fierce, you know what I'm saying, the fight was very much anticipated. You know what I'm saying? Crawford won that fight, and Canelo had conceded. All right? But something happened afterwards that nobody really talks about. Okay? It was the level of respect that you see amongst those fighters that they have for each other. So let me show you a couple videos real quick. Bear with me.
Dude, I respect Canelo, man. Look at this respect he's showing Bud. And he did not make any excuse. He said Bud is that guy. It's what he said. This dude is just, he's good. Made no excuse, dude. None. That's a real man. And if people wonder why he's giving the belts back, they do this because Bud's going to get his new titles. So, his own. But those are for him to keep in his collection. They're still his belts. But yeah, that dude right there, man, much respect to Canelo.
I beat Canelo, but I still had to hand the championship belts back to him. This fight was never just 36 minutes in the ring. And listen carefully, I'm not joking. Before the fight, Canelo humiliated me in front of the whole world, saying my only real test was arrow spins. In that moment, it felt like I was thrown into the fire. At the press conference, we shoved each other. Our eyes clashed like blades. To you, it looked like promotion. To me, it was my dignity being ripped apart. I had no way out. To answer that challenge, I forced myself up to 167.5 pounds to face a bigger, more experienced, more dangerous man. The second I stepped into that ring, I knew I was standing on the edge of a cliff. But it was exactly that provocation that turned me into a beast. And when I looked down at those belts engraved with Canelo's name, there was only one thought in my mind. This was never just my story. Without his challenge, there would be no breakthrough for me. So I gave the belts back, not because I was unworthy, but because I respected him. Respected the man who pushed me to my limit. Respected a battle that went beyond winning and losing. Inside the ring, the winner was me. But outside the ring, he was still the director. That's the truth of boxing. You can knock down your opponent, yet still have to admit he helped shape you.
All right. I want to read another very good quote. It says, "The white man stole our land. That's why he can't dance, because guilty feet have got no rhythm." All right. And interestingly enough, you know what I'm saying, according to prophecy, it's going to be that very same so-called white man who's going to bring the tribes together. All right. The same Edomite, the same adversary, our twin brother Esau, who's the brother of Jacob, okay, is going to be the one that causes both kingdoms to come back together. Okay? It begins first on this side and is completed when Yahushua returns. All right? So, what you need to understand how the Bible works, how the scriptures work, okay, is that the scriptures are written as a puzzle, and it has to be pieced together as such. You know what I'm saying? And there are certain clues that the scriptures give you to help you navigate it, okay, and to figure out what is being said in the last days, the things that are prophesied to happen. All right, so let's go to Genesis chapter 49, real quick. All right, I just want to give you one of those clues. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 13. It says Zebulun, verse 14, excuse me. Issachar is a strong ass, crouching down between two burdens. Okay, Issachar, all right, would be the so-called Mexicans. All right, Issachar in the Hebrew is Yeshashkar. All right, Yeshashkar, which means he is hired. All right. So when you look at these so-called Mexicans, look at the way they move. Look at how they act. All right. Why does it compare the tribe of Issachar to a strong ass? What is an ass? An ass is a donkey. All right. An ass is a donkey. And what is a donkey? A donkey is a beast of burden. All right. It's used a lot in labor. Okay. And it says that it's a strong ass. So when you look at the Ishkarites, let me show you a depiction real quick. All right. When you look at the tribe of Issachar, these so-called Mexicans, okay, they're so adamant at their work, so efficient in the way they do things. You know what I'm saying? They work hard. All right. They take pride in their work. You know what I'm saying? And they'll work, you know, so well. Okay. And at the same time, they're so humble. They're so meek. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the type of backbreaking, you know, work that they do, they make it look easy. And yet it's like, why don't you guys get any money for what you do? You know what I'm saying? Like big time money. Why don't you make more money for what you do, man? You breaking your back and shit like that, man. All right? Real quick. All right. breaking your back in the scorching heat out there, you know what I'm saying? And, climbing up on roofs, you know what I'm saying? You work out there in the fields and you take all those crops and, set them up for the farmers. You get on the rooftops and you build the best roofs, you know what I'm saying? Efficient work, you know what I'm saying? Definitely backbreaking, hard work. And you get it all done so fast, okay? And even these devils, these Edomites have no choice but to praise you for how well you do your work, okay? To the point where they got up there and they was talking about they're taking all our jobs away. All right, remember, Yashashkar, he is hired. Okay? So now these very people are figuring out what happens when they remove you from the equation, when they remove you from the scene. Remember the scriptures say that ye are the salt of the earth. All right, ye are the salt of the earth, man. Now they're figuring out what happens when they remove you. Okay? Just like they tell the so-called Negroes, all right, go back to Africa. But they know damn well that if they was to remove, the tribes of the southern kingdom, they wouldn't have anything. They're realizing this. They're realizing a portion of this while they're taking away the northern kingdom. Okay? So, Ishkar is a strong ass. But at the same time, they know how to relax. As it says in verse 15. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Right? They still know how to throw down. They still know how to relax. They still know how to have a good meal. You know what I'm saying? They still know how to chill, lean back and just enjoy rest. You know what I'm saying? And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. These are one of the clues that you have in identifying the tribes. You know what I'm saying? And as the scriptures say, all 11 of the tribes are going to look to Judah, the head tribe, okay, of the house of Jacob. You know what I'm saying? The head tribe of the 12 tribes. They're going to look for Jacob to make the first move. That's why it's so imperative that they make sure, you know what I'm saying? They make sure that they keep both kingdoms divided against each other. You see what I'm saying? Because what happens when they both come together? All right? And Judah is going to be the one that causes this thing to pop off. All right? All the tribes, Benjamin, Levi, Zebulun, Simeon, Naphtali, Gad, they're all waiting on Judah to make that move. Genesis chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. You see what I'm saying? All the tribes are waiting for the head tribe to make the move. And very soon, the Lord is going to allow, all right, this young lion's whelp, okay, to rise up. You see what I'm saying? Very soon, man. All right. Let me see if there's one more precept I wanted to get, and then I'll close it out. I promise, because I'm running out of time. So let me get this real quick. And let me see, where is that precept? Bear with me, Akim. All right. So I'm going to end this off in the book of Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 11. It reads, As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein there was no water. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prison, ye Slakia. Let me read that again. Turn ye to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. All right. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man. All right. So the 12 tribes are going to regather. They're going to join together again, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to begin on this side. You know what I'm saying? When the Lord lifts up the standard for the elect men. All right. And like I said, it's perfected when Yahushua returns. So I pray this lesson has been comforting, all right, and has been edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, V'chak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in this truth under. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad, man. All right? Let not the incredulity, the unbelief of these naysayers, you know what I'm saying? Don't let them trouble you, man. All right? Stand firm on your faith, because that's what we need to lean on in these days. Hey, Shalom.